This is still ANC News 7 p.m. I'm Yvette Novenario. Again, the headlines. House Speaker Jose de Venecia stresses he is constrained to abide by the Supreme Court ruling, declaring the second impeachment complaint against Chief Justice Hilario Davide unconstitutional. The president defends the extreme action taken against former ATO Chief Panfilo Villaruel and Lieutenant Senior Grade Ricardo Cachillar, even as authorities try to determine if their takeover of the NAIA control tower was part of a larger plot. Senate President Franklin Drilon, meantime, calls for a congressional probe into the NAIA siege. Overseas, Iran again promises to suspend its disputed uranium enrichment program. Palestinian President Yasser Arafat reasserts control over Palestinian security forces. And Saudi Arabia assures terror attacks will not destabilize the kingdom amid warnings the Al-Qaeda is bent on toppling the pro-Western Saudi government. Part of modern-day consumerism is the use of credit cards. Now you can even use them for internet purchases, but as shopping technology gets more convenient, so does finding loopholes in the system, enabling one to use credit accounts other than his. To warn against credit card hackers and their latest rackets, we have Rupert Murdoch-founded, who is a special investigator with the NBI, and Charles Yeomans, Managing Director of Yes Group Company. Thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, how severe is the problem with credit card fraud on the internet?
I don't think it's as severe as people think. Okay. It's actually, you're quite well protected. Everybody thinks there's so much risk in there. If you've actually got a site that has what they call secure socket layers, which has a little padlock at the bottom, then those sites have been verified to be who they are, what they say they are. And then the whole system is actually quite well run. The actual card holder themselves is very well protected under the Visa MasterCard rules. So it's not as dangerous as people think, and in fact usually it's the first time people get worried, but after they've had an experience where they've been successful, then it goes on okay after that. Okay,
but the key there is to look for a website that is padlocked.
Basically, yes. You should always make sure of that, because that means they've gone through a notary to confirm that they are a registered company and who they say they are.
Okay. Yeah. In the Philippines, there was recently 3 Filipinos arrested for internet credit card fraud. Tell us a little about this case.
Actually, we've been able to arrest Dante Castro, who posed as Tony Perez, and Marcio Villegas, and Sandro Del Pilar. Actually, they were the ones who hacked, I don't know, somehow they were able to hack the system, and they were able to transfer funds from credit cards here to smart money value cards in the Philippines.
How were they discovered?
Our complainant, Paul Hubbard, who was the country manager of Total Solutions, went to NBI, and then he somehow asked us help to investigate the credit card fraud. And then through channels, the case was assigned to me, and then for about 10 days, we were able to solve the problem through the help of the system being used by Total Solutions.
Okay, and right now they are detained?
Actually, they were out on bail ready just a few days ago.
Okay. All right. This is, though, I mean, however not severe it is, this is a worldwide problem. No?
It is a worldwide problem. This case in particular, we've been working in banking and financial institutions and credit card for a long time. We've been doing credit cards for 3 years. And that enabled us to spot immediately that someone was trying something.
Okay.
But rather than stop them there, we let it continue so that we could catch them in the act, and that's where we work with the NBI on doing that.
How do you catch them in the act?
We don't want to give too much away.
Okay, you might give them some ideas on how what not to do.
Well, generally there's methods where you're verifying the person is saying who they are. We can trace internet. We've got good internet tracking, which actually traces people where they're coming from. there's sort of bits and pieces you can spot, but you get experience at doing that, and it becomes very obvious to someone like us. We're looking at everything real time. We have a human interface checking everything as well. Humans are the best still, okay, even though we use computers.
Okay, what about banking online? Is it a similar type of transaction with the similar risks, or is it a little different than that?
It is a bit different. Obviously, banking online, you're dealing with personal accounts, which could have usually huge amounts of money, and if you're in certain places, maybe some rich people have massive amounts in their bank account, whereas generally there's a limit on a credit card, and credit card companies normally have some artificial intelligence systems to monitor that you're not spending out of your pattern, and would reject that, that spending. So. Okay.
Would you say, though, again, in the Philippines, though, I think credit card, internet credit, usage of credit cards on the internet is not yet that widely accepted.
Yes, sir.
Because I think right now, people are more worried about the fact that they're not actually putting a signature anywhere.
Yes, sir.
Is that a valid reason not to use the internet, not to use a credit card on the internet?
I don't think so. That's a very valid reason. Actually, his company has created a system wherein each transaction in the internet is being tracked. So any fraud, any fraud will be really noticed, and they will be able to apprehend the guys.
You track all transactions? How do you track all transactions all over the world? I'm trying to figure that out.
Just the ones coming into our system.
The ones coming in.
Yeah, for the people we work that use our system for doing the payments.
Okay, so your clients would be the websites or the credit card companies?
It's websites, basically. It's people that, for one reason or another, can't set it up themselves, so they come to us and we do it for them.
Okay.
And,
but the problem here, then, it's not the owners of the website, they're hackers.
Yeah, in this case, actually, it wasn't hacking. In this case, somehow people had got hold of some false credit cards, well, real credit cards that were still active, not reported stolen, and they were using those and probably understood a bit more about the people who they belonged to, such they knew they wouldn't look at their credit card statements online or something like that. So they were able to use them for some time.
But are there also cases wherein people are able to use a credit card number that you've already used on the internet, to reuse that number?
Well, you can use your credit card number anytime. So if somebody's got hold of your number, they don't just need your number, they need your expiry date as well. So it's a combination. And actually now, with Visa, MasterCard, there's another little code on your credit card called a CVV, which is a 3 or 4 digit code on your card, which doesn't appear on the magnetic stripe, and it doesn't appear on the imprints. Because actually still physical theft of taking from a restaurant, copying somebody's credit card slip, you've got their details. So that's actually more, there's more fraud committed that way.
Okay. Is there, is unscrupulous website creators, though, are they a bigger problem, would you say, when it comes to this type of fraud?
I think there are some, and I think it's down to the consumer to make sure that that padlock's there. If they don't see that padlock and they're giving away their credit card information, they're not being very sensible. Okay. Okay. They must verify that. Then you should really take a bit of time out to look at the site, look at the people behind it. If the site doesn't say anything about the staff that run the site or their address, no physical address or anything like that, then you shouldn't touch them. But generally, people build up a reputation, like Amazon, you know, like Yahoo. They've all got a reputation. So you start getting a reputation, and everything is trust, and that's what we're building up with our systems. We're building up a name where people say, oh, yes, we trust the Yes Group, we trust, you know, Yes Pinoy, and everything like that. So it takes time.
Okay, Mr. Manaog, in the Philippines, once again, this is not the first case of internet credit card fraud, or is it the first one that we've actually apprehended?
No, actually, ma'am, this is my first case, but in the NBI, we've had several credit card apprehensions.
Credit card apprehensions on the for internet usage, or just credit card
I don't
fraud?
know the basics of the cases,
Okay.
but
There have been a number of them.
A number of them.
Okay. Let's try to help the viewer understand as well.
Okay.
What should they do if this happens to them? Let's say, for example, I gave you an example earlier. If you've made a purchase over the internet using your credit card, and you continue to get billed month after month.
Okay. You should read the terms and conditions whenever you sign up for a site. But basically, the Visa rules and the MasterCard rules are such that the cardholder is very well protected. If that site has fooled you, conned you in any way, you've got a right to claim your money back with what they call a chargeback.
Okay.
You will always get that back. You sign an affidavit to the bank saying, I didn't order this, I don't deserve to be charged for it. It's then up to the site owner to prove beyond doubt that you signed documents, that you did everything to purchase those goods. Otherwise, you're very protected, and it's called a chargeback. But if the site is well run, you should always go to the site first and say to the site, I don't want to pay for that, you shouldn't have done that. And if they're a good site, they'll say, sorry, here's a refund. And they can actually change that. They can refund it back to your card.
So the loss is still very protective of the consumer in that sense?
Very protected. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with internet transactions.
With internet transactions. If there are, who does someone who's been a victim of this, where do they complain to? Do they complain to the NBI?
Sure.
You can complain directly. Yeah. Is there a specific department that they should go to?
Actually, we have a department for that, the Anti-Fraud and Computer Crimes Division, the AFAD.
Okay.
But then again, every division in the NBI can handle such case.
Okay. But in other countries, would you say the problem is bigger than it is here?
No, I think it's pretty standard. There are some very famous countries where some acquiring banks will not touch cards issued from certain Eastern European countries because there's been so many frauds and so much of this going on, and it's obviously syndicates working together. But generally, it's pretty even over the world. And actually, online internet transactions are only running at about 1.5% chargeback rate. So it's not... And chargeback also includes people with just total dissatisfaction about the products they bought. So the fraud is probably quite a lot less than that.
But would you consider it one of the more preferred ways of purchasing goods among people nowadays?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think in the last 4 years, it's gone from people being very worried to people using their card all the time on the internet now, especially in America, in Western countries. It's just doing it every day. Yeah.
Do you think that we lack the information on this or education on this?
Somehow I believe so. Yeah.
What agency of government should be releasing information about this to?
I don't know. I think the IT side of the government should be the ones, announcing and giving the details of how secure using credit cards are.
If there are convictions of those who have committed fraud in this type of situation, what would be and they are properly convicted of this, what would be the fine or the penalty for something like this?
I think it depends on the gravity of the crime committed.
But it can range from both a financial, from the financial aspect to even being jailed?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is imprisonment.
Yeah, there is.
Okay. Are stricter penalties on those who violate this type of usage? Do you think that they should be more stringent?
I think they should be very strict. I think what you're dealing with here is trust of the internet, and for hackers, for people that commit internet fraud, they should get very big sentences, because the internet's our everyday life now, and in order to make it work, governments have got to work together. ISPs, the service providers, have got to work together. companies that produce the software like Microsoft, they've got to work together. Everybody's got to start working together to stop not only fraud, but the proliferation of spam, stopping hacking, everything. So, yes.
Okay. Would you know of an international organization that actually monitors this or, you know, does programs to help stop this?
I don't know of anybody doing it. I think there's a lot of small bits and pieces starting all over the world. I don't think it's actually come as a worldwide consolidated view on it. But I think America's very keen on doing things, and Europe is doing a lot. And you know, they have differences of opinion how to do it, but it's coming together.
Okay. And for the 3 persons that you apprehended, they're now out on bail.
Yeah,
what happens next, though, with regards to the case?
They will be subpoenaed for other charges that are filed against them.
If they're still around.
Yeah. They will be around.
They will be around.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're monitoring their
their movements and their locations.
Okay.
And if found guilty, then imprisonment will be given.
Okay, so they're the NBI is still pursuing this case.
Oh, yeah.
Very much.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, what would you say are the 3 most important things people should know about purchasing items or using your credit card over the internet?
I think first that they are protected, no matter what, and they should get all their money back if certainly if it's been a fraud, and if they purchased something that they were confused about, they should still get their money back.
Okay.
Secondly, you shouldn't be nervous. Just make sure. It's like you wouldn't give your money to a guy walking in a bank and he says, I'll look after it for you. Just try and look at the background of the site, make sure they say where they're from, and check out that it's a proper site.
Be wary of scams.
Yeah, be wary of scams. And generally you should be able to spot them quite easy.
Okay.
Third, just keep keep using the internet. It's brilliant. Okay. It's fantastic for buying things.
Especially for your business.
Especially for your business.
Okay, but for those companies who are interested in contacting you to help them with their internet transactions, where do they get in touch with you?
We have a website called yesyes.com.
Yesyes.com.
Yes, and
okay.
that's our. We have different websites and different groups, but yesyes.com is the main site.
All right. Okay. And where can people get in touch? Do you have an NBI hotline or something that people can call?
Yes, ma'am. It's 523-8231. That is our trunk line.
Okay.
And then they can ask for any agent there.
Any agent. So 523-8231.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you very much for this very interesting discussion. We hope it opened the eyes of a lot of people, and we hope this stops.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're joined by Mr. Rupert Murdoch, who is a special investigator of the NBI, and Mr. Charles Yeomans, managing director of Yes Group Company. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll have the business and foreign updates when we return. Keep it here on the News Channel.